How to be a driver and Formula student. At Ecurie Aix, this is a one-year process. At the beginning of each season, all team members willing to become one of our few drivers come together for the driver selection training at a kart racing track. The team leaders and the racing operations crew sit down together as all applicants race along the track. They will evaluate the efforts and racing capabilities of all candidates and will later announce a group of under 10 members that will continue training and practice to be ready for the event season.
It was a lot of fun actually. It's the first time for me I get the chance to compete with this level of competition. There are really good drivers in this team, and which makes it way more fun. I was just trying to keep the car as smooth as possible, avoid the wheel spin, avoid the rear to kick out, and just keep a clean lap. I think that's the best strategy.
It's a driver sport. We are practicing 2 times each week. We're starting 8 a.m. in the morning. That's pretty good for our health. So we started with running early in the morning, which means around 30 minutes of pure endurance training in order to keep the drivers fit for a whole testing day, because obviously you won't want to get tired after doing a few laps. Then we transition to strength training, which will make the drivers able to withstand all the forces acting in the car. And in order to prepare for that, we're going to do push-ups, pull-ups, some core work for the abs and back muscles, and that's it.
Today we are here on the track testing the car, and it's really important if you want to get the highest performance out of the car that also the driver's trained. As the driver, it's really important to get a feeling how the car is going, how it's oversteering or understeering, give the feedback to the guys, to the performance guys, to tell them how to make the car better, and so that we can get the most performance out of the car. It's always amazing to drive the electric cars, because you get the feeling of the power, and the power from the beginning on. You get the Newton meters and the torque, and the speed, the extra speed is just amazing, and you can get around the corner very quick, much more quicker than in a normal car. And it's always a pleasure to drive such a car.
Today we drove the car for the first time with the aero kit on. The G-forces were very interesting to deal with. This was the first time I had to drive the car with so much downforce on it. It's very interesting at what kind of velocities these cars can corner. The torque vectoring system, of course, naturally helps at low speed corners to counter the negative effects of having high aerodynamic downforce and drag. This was the first time I got to drive the car, and it was very, very amazing. Nothing feels like being able to drive an electric car with such amount of acceleration and such crazy amounts of downforce. It's quite an amazing feeling.
After months of intense preparations, our drivers are finally able to show what they can do on the track at the different competitions we participate in.
We are just coming from the driver egress test. In this test, every driver has to prove that he can get out of the car within 5 seconds.
I just got back from the autocross event here at the FSG. It's really satisfying to drive a car on this high level with such hard G-forces in acceleration, deceleration and high-speed corners. Especially here at the FSG track we got some really heavy bumps and it's hard to control the car when you go over them. Sometimes the front ring is scratching or the underfloor is scratching, but we calculated with that. In addition to that, we had a pretty sunny day here at the FSG. For us drivers, we need to keep the concentration as high as possible and don't get dehydrated.
The endurance event is most definitely the most stressful dynamic event for both the driver and the car. The most difficult part is probably firstly the physical strain on the body and especially on the mind. Keep your focus for the entire endurance and communicate with the race engineers during the event. Maybe change the setup of the car via our steering wheel, and also keep track of the temperatures of the accumulator, the motors, our inverter, and react to whatever the race engineers say and adapt the driving accordingly. The most important factor for a driver is of course his speed, but also the mental strength will be quite important. But remember that it's only a bunch of students building the car and you will never know that whether the car will actually be able to perform on an event. And it's not that unlikely that a driver might not be able to drive during an event because of technical difficulties, and that's always something to consider during the application as a driver, because that's of course a quite annoying thing to happen when you could be studying for your exams. Summing it up, I would say being a driver is of course a lot of fun, but also a lot of work, because of course you will have the work of the entire team at your very fingertips, steering that car that everybody worked on for an entire year, and the responsibility that comes with that. But in the end, it's very rewarding to then sit in the car and drive around, helping the team to reach their best performance.
Do you have what it takes to be one of our drivers? Then apply now on our website and join us. See you on the track.